kicking back on this summer breeze. Welcome to Double K's Classroom. Class is officially in session.
The following Four Aces production is for mature audiences only. Listener discretion is highly advised.
Y'all, what's up? What's up? What's up? This here, bringing you that classroom. Yeah, man, I do apologize. Last week I did not bring you that classroom like I was supposed to on Friday night. Just randomly decided to take the night off, but I'm back with you strong. I was going to cover last week. The plan was I was going to cover. Let's see. Got to get the book out here. The spring training for the athletics, and I will do that, guys. Don't worry about that. I'll be bouncing back to that. We'll do more of season previews for them, starting with the Giants in 2 weeks, and then we'll move on to the A's and do some more lovely baseball there. But today, man, I had to drop a special episode for specifically this reason. NFL free agency in this new league year has started off with a bang, boom, pow. Like bottom line, like I don't care how you look at it, I don't care which way you see it. Bang, boom, pow is the best way to describe it. Teams made a lot of noise without making a lot of noise, and then there were teams that made a lot of noise. So let's start with the teams from just the West Coast, and then I'm going to expand to the rest of the NFL after break. Today we're not going to have a Double K's lesson of the day because I'm just not really feeling like it. So we're just going to listen to a couple podcast promos, and then we'll come back and we'll talk the rest. So let's start with the Arizona Cardinals. It's looking like everybody's saying that they're about to take Kyler Murray with the number one pick in the draft. So if that's true, they got Marcus Gilbert. They traded for him from the Steelers from their excellent offensive line for a 2019 sixth-round pick at the beginning of the league new year. Let's see. They also signed linebacker Jordan Hicks to a 4-year contract, $36 million, $20 million guaranteed. I believe he played for the Eagles before. They signed backup QB, and I call him backup QB, Brett Hundley, because he's not starting. Unless Kyler Murray flames out in training camp, which I doubt he will, in Kingsbury offense, he's not going to even see the field. They agreed to a 1-year deal with him worth $2 million, $3 million with incentives, or a max value of $3 million. Defensive end, outside linebacker Terrell Suggs has joined the Arizona Cardinals. They agreed to terms on a 1 year deal. Um, J.R. Sweezy, offensive guard, signed a 2 year deal with the Cardinals, and Kevin White, wide receiver, signed just as he's expected to sign. They haven't released the numbers yet on his deal. The Cardinals added a wide receiver. I don't know who he is, so I believe he came from the Bears. So I can't really tell you that's a good pickup. I know Sweezy is a good pickup. Gilbert's an excellent pickup because they're coming off of what was basically one of the best offensive lines in football last year. Hicks and Suggs should add to that defense that's already pretty good, but they did lose Tyrann Mathieu this year. But they still got Patrick Peterson, and I believe that they still got a defensive coordinator who knows how to utilize his pieces. So let's see. The next team from the West here, from the West Coast, is the Los Angeles Chargers. Hold on one second. They signed Thomas Davis, former Carolina Panther, spent his whole career there. Linebacker, I believe inside linebacker, 1 year or 2 year, $10.5 million. Is 5.5 of it guaranteed. Defensive tackle Brandon Mebane is re-signing with them after agreeing to terms on a 2 year deal worth 9.3, 5.25 guaranteed. Denzel Perryman, linebacker, he was re-signed on a 2 year deal worth 12 million, and they signed QB Tyrod Taylor to back up Drew Brees, or not Drew Brees, but Phillip Rivers in Los Angeles, and they agreed to terms on a 2 year, $11 million contract with him to sit behind Phillip Rivers just in case anything happens to Phillip. So the Chargers are looking to get better. They really didn't add much offensively, but they added a lot defensively, and that's good because their defense, as good as it was, could get better. And they do have Joey Bosa, the older brother of Nick, the guy that I'm hoping the 49ers take, that showed out last year, and I forgot who the other kid that they have opposite him that they drafted as well. But they let their defensive tackle Corey Legit go, so they did replace him with Mebane though. So who knows? The Chargers look pretty good this year. They looked pretty good last year, and I think they did get better in the offseason. They got a little younger and they got a little better. The Rams just re-signed Dante Fowler Jr. They lost Ndamukong Suh. He hasn't re-signed anywhere else, but so they may be working on something with him, but he's not back there yet. But they did re-sign Dante Fowler Jr. 1 year, $14 million, $12 million guaranteed, and they signed Eric Weddle to make up for the fact that they lost LaMarcus Joyner. I'll tell you the who in a couple minutes. But they signed him to a 2 year deal worth $12.5 million. So I can see that matchup working out as well. Weddle will do well in that offense, and I think that he'll be able to make an impact almost immediately. Other than that, the signing Dante Fowler Jr. was just huge because it brings back an immediate pass rush to a team that already has the two-time defending defensive player of the year and Aaron Donald on their defensive line, and they're going to add him. They're going to add Fowler Jr., and that's just going to free up Donald for more things. So, okay, so the next West Coast team is a team that did a lot. The Oakland Raiders. They went out, and John Gruden wanted himself his type of wide receiver, and I believe that this man is his type of wide receiver. The one, the only, the unmerkable. And that's a word that I just made up. Antonio Brown. I had wanted him to come to San Francisco. I had said multiple times that if he came to San Francisco, it would be over, like for the rest of the NFL, that I believe that San Francisco would be a winning squad. And I believe that it's not over for the rest of the NFL, but I believe that the Raiders can put themselves on the map should Antonio Brown vibe with Derek Carr, and looks like he's trying to initially, right off the back. So they also tried to go out and protect him, picking up a guy that protected the one and only Tom Brady last year, and that's Trent Brown, former 49er as well. So he's familiar with the Bay Area. 4 year, $66 million contract, making him the highest paid tackle in football, 36.75 guaranteed. I don't think he was worth all that money, but I think he'll do a good job in protecting Derek Carr's left side, or they'll let Colton Miller develop and he'll be able to solidify the other side of the thing. Either way, they got themselves two good tackles starting. Lamarcus Joyner joined the Raiders on a 4-year, $42 million deal, 16.7 million fully guaranteed. I think this is a huge pickup for the Raiders defense that was pathetic last year without Khalil Mack. It gives them another impact player. And then also while releasing Jordy Nelson, poor Jordy Nelson, um, they signed Tyrell Williams from the San Diego Chargers to a 4-year deal, 44 million, 22 million guaranteed, has a maximum of 47 million with incentives. To a deal, former Los Angeles Charger, great wideout. This Raiders team is going to look different next year. They didn't end up getting Le'Veon Bell. I'll talk to you about who he went to later. But they got Antonio Brown, and they still got Doug Martin and Marshawn Lynch. And I think that this team is now something very special. And so, John Gruden, this should be your year. Give Oakland something to scream about when you're out there playing, because you did well in free agency. And last team that I'll talk about from the West is, of course, my personal favorite, the San Francisco 49ers, who picked up Quan Alexander, who's coming off an Achilles. You'll see this theme going throughout the entire list I'm going through, is that some of these are players that were hurt last year and haven't played in a minute, or played lesser roles on their team and are coming to the 49ers to contribute, and I like that. Quan Alexander, a very athletic linebacker, signed to a 4-year deal worth $54 million. I believe he was like a second or third round pick by the Bucks. He had a couple good seasons and then tore his Achilles last season, but he'll be coming back. He should be ready to go by training camp. So I like that signing. But if not, they restructure Malcolm Smith's contract so he could stick around. So they still have Smith and Warner if Quan takes a little bit longer to come back. They signed Tevin Coleman to back up to be a safety thing for Jared McKinnon and Matt Bredia, who both suffered injuries last year. So it gives them a third solid running back to be able that not only to be able to contribute, but that knows Shanahan's system and succeeded in it in previous years in Atlanta. He was a part of that team that went to the Super Bowl. They traded with the Chiefs a 2020 second round draft pick for D Ford, the outside linebacker that they franchise tagged, which they rescinded their franchise tag when they traded him to the 49ers. He signed a new 5-year deal worth $87 million with the 49ers. I believe like 50 something of it's guaranteed. He's expected to come in and be a Ferrari, according to him. So I hope he actually does come in and do that, because giving us a pass rush we haven't had really since Aldon Smith would make that defense more, and also give guys like Richard Sherman a better chance to be able to how do you say, to be able to do their thing. Sherman played well with Seattle because they had monsters up front who could get to people. They placed the franchise tag on Robbie Gould. I believe it was 5 point something million for the kicker. Jordan Matthews, former Eagle, signed a 1-year deal with the team. I'm actually glad to have him in. Like he fits in well. He's nondescript. He doesn't necessarily need to be better or to be on the field all the time. He's willing to come in, do his job, go home. So Jordan Matthews, welcome to the San Francisco 49ers. Mike Pearson, offensive guard, re-signed on a 3-year deal with the team. They also brought in and picked up Jason Verrett, a guy that I actually wanted them to pick up when he was a rookie a few years back. But he's been often injured and comes in on a prove-it deal, 1-year, $3.6 million deal. And if he can stay healthy, it gives the 49ers a formidable 1-2 punch with Verrett and Sherman. And they got Jimmy Ward, who can play cornerback or safety. He can dispel either position. And then you got D Ford and them boys up front getting to the quarterback. So 49ers did well. I think that they added the right pieces instead of just adding the highest profile pieces. They added the right pieces, and John Lynch and them still have the number 2 pick in the draft, in which they're probably planning on taking Nick Bosa if Kyler Murray goes first, and that would just be beautiful. I could see this team doing things because they're very, very young. So, all right, I'm gonna take my first break. You're gonna listen to a couple podcasts from us, and when I come back, we're gonna talk the rest of the NFL, which went buck fucking wild during the NFL free agency period when it opened up, even before it opened up on Wednesday. You're listening to Double K's Classroom right here on the 4Aces Presents Radio Network, special Thursday night edition. Peace.
Hey, listener, Dutch here from Voice from the Underground, the podcast. My co-host and I want to invite you to check out our little corner of the podcast verse. At Voice from the Underground, we talk about all the crazy happening around us and try to make a little bit of sense out of the nonsense with little to no results. If the idea of hearing three semi-intelligent, outspoken nerds talk about politics, social issues, current events, sports, movies, pretty much anything that we decide to talk about because, well, it's our show, appeals to you, grab your shovel and come on down to the underground, and then consult a qualified psychotherapist. Find us wherever you get your podcasts, just not where you buy your weed.
Voice from the Underground.
Man brain. You know you want it. You know you need it. Let me introduce you to our team of audio professionals, 100% committed to giving you the greatest extreme comedy podcast of all time.
What's SPH? I'm so super cute.
Send me your orgasmic release videos.
You can get it rootin'. You can get it tootin'. You can get it doing doughies in your yeet. Mi nombre es Tío Yeti. And you just laugh at little Hank. I ain't gonna pretend I is fresh. But looks like you might like that.
And most importantly, I'm Skullfucker. Rah! Go to manbrainpodcast.com to get orally violated. Manbrain out.
So, what's up? Steve Fingerstyles here, the host of the podcast spelled DA, of course. Tune in each and every week to hear what pisses me off, what angers me, what I make fun of, and of course, my crazy rants. I also have incompetent co-hosts, cool guests, and a silent producer that sucks. So what more do you need from a podcast? You can listen on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, and the Pod Bros Network. Peace.
All right, and we are back. So, what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to start with the teams that were out there, but not really out there. Like, let's take a look down this list, okay? You look. I'm just looking at tagging big names. Kenyon Barner goes to Atlanta to replace Tevin Coleman. They just franchise tagged Grady Garrett. Mark Ingram and Earl Thomas both decide to sign with fucking Baltimore. I'm not mad at this, but I'm mad at this because I wanted Earl Thomas to come play for the 49ers. Now I'm hoping that Eric Berry decides to come and play for the 49ers, but I doubt it's going to happen. We'll see. But Earl Thomas signed a 4-year, $55 million, 32 guaranteed deal with the Ravens, and Ingram agreed to a 3-year, $15 million deal with the Ravens. So Ravens got themselves some good players. Buffalo went on a spending spree, picking up anybody and everybody. Cole Beasley, John Brown, Frank Gore all went there. Kevin Johnson, the cornerback, goes there. Tyler Kroft goes there on a 3-year deal. Mitch Morse, 4-year deal. Ty Nitschke, 2-year deal. Jordan Phillips, a 1-year deal, $4.5 million, and Andre Roberts on a 2-year deal. Like that was it. The Bears replaced the loss of Amos, who went to the Packers, with Clinton Dix. Mike Davis signs a 2-year deal worth $6 million. Cordell Patterson from the Super Bowl winning Patriots signs a 2-year $10 million deal, and Buster Skrine signed a 3-year $16 million deal, a cornerback. So let's see what other big names we got here. Oh yeah, and we come across the funking Cleveland Browns, who went out there and traded for Olivia Vernier from the Giants, right? And then proceeded to turn around and trade again with the Giants and get Odell Beckham Jr. So basically what the deal consisted of is they get Odell Beckham and Olivia Vernon, and the Giants get in exchange, they gave up Jabril Peppers, guard Kevin Zeitler, and two 2019 draft picks, round 1 and round 3. So they get the number 17 pick, or they get the number 17 pick from the Giants. No, they gave up the number 17 pick and the number 95 pick, Zeitler and Peppers, for Odell Beckham Jr. and Olivia Vernier. Then they go out and they sign Sheldon Richardson, defensive tackle, to a 3-year deal worth $36 million, and re-sign their own offensive tackle Greg Robinson to a 1-year deal worth $9 million. Yeah, I would say this team, yeah, they looking pretty good next year. You're talking about OBJ. I could see a lot of people using them in Madden next year. OBJ opposite Jarvis Landry with Njoku at tight end, with fucking Nick Chubb in the backfield, Baker Mayfield throwing on the ball. Then on the defensive side, you got Myles Garrett and Olivia Vernier. Olivia Vernon. Like, if you're a Browns fan, it's a good time to be a Browns fan. They are definitely on their way up. Cowboys really didn't do anything except for re-sign Tavon Austin and put the franchise tag. Oh, Jason Witten came out of retirement. We'll see what's going to happen with that. I don't know if there's going to be too much that's going to go on with that. He should add to the thing. Joe Flacco was traded to the Broncos, so they actually have themselves a halfway decent cornerback, and they bring in Kareem Jackson at defensive tackle or defensive back. Jawan James' name I really don't know. Offensive tackle, they signed him to a 4-year deal. The Lions cleaned up, picking up Amendola, Trey Flowers, both former Patriots. Amendola signed a 1-year deal. Flowers signed a 5-year deal. Jesse James, the former Steeler, signed a 4-year, $25 million deal. Gets themselves a young tight end in there. Packers signed Amos, as I was discussing earlier. Mercedes Lewis, I didn't know that one. Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith, I guess they're planning on putting them on the opposite sides. They let Clay Matthews go. And Billy Turner for the O-line. Houston's franchise tagged Davion Clowney. They signed Tayshaun and Gibson and Bradley Roby to both to 1-year deals. The Colts picked up Pierre Desir, or re-signed him to a 3-year deal. Devin Funchess to a 1-year, $13 million deal. I don't necessarily think he's worth that, but that's what they felt he was worth. Jacksonville gets their man as they get Nick Foles on a 4-year, $88 million deal, but we'll see what happens with that. Max value of $102 million. Wow. The Chiefs cleaned up while trading D Ford and getting that 2020 second round pick. They managed to sign Carlos Hyde, safety, the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu to a 3-year deal. Alex Okafor, defensive end, expects to sign a 3-year deal. And linebacker Damian Wilson has agreed to a deal with the Chiefs as well. We talked about Chargers already. Rams, Vikings got there by Anthony Barr, kept him in place. The New England Patriots traded to the Eagles a 27th round pick in exchange for a 2025th round pick. Michael Bennett, they picked up Michael Bennett to replace Trey Flowers. They picked up safety Terrence Brooks on a 2-year deal, Philip Dorsett on a 1-year deal, Bruce Ellington, former 49er, on a 1-year deal, and then they re-signed Jason McCourty to a 2-year deal. The Saints re-signed A contract worth up to 12.5 million, 7.25 guaranteed with the Saints. They also signed Malcolm Brown to a 3-year deal, former Patriot, I believe, and Latavius Murray to replace Mark Ingram. The Giants signed Antoine Bethea to replace LaMarcus Joyner. They traded for Odell Beckham. And, and then just signed Golden Tate as well. The Jets cleaned up, picking up Le'Veon Bell, Josh Bellamy, Jason Crowder, C.J. Mosley. They thought they had Anthony Barr, but he decided to go back to and they traded with the Raiders for Kelechi Osemele. Let's see. The Eagles brought back Deshaun Jackson. That was pretty huge, and signed Malik Jackson to a 3-year deal. The Steelers re-signed Ramon Foster, re-signed Dan McCullers, picked up Dante Moncrief on a 2-year deal, I guess to help replace Antonio Brown, re-signed Eli Rogers, and got Steven Nelson on a 3-year deal. The Seahawks placed a franchise tag on Frank Clark, DJ Fluker they brought in, Mike Iupati they brought in on 2- and 1-year deals respectively. Mikael Kendricks re-signs pending what his result is in his case, his fraud case. And then Jason Myers signed with Seattle. KJ Wright re-signed a 2-year deal worth $15 million. Buccaneers got Ryan Griffin. Let's see. That's about it. Tennessee Titans' biggest signing was Adam Humphries. They re-signed Kenny Vaccaro to safety, and Cameron Wake signed a 3-year deal with them. And the Washington Redskins got Landon Collins from the Giants. Case Keenum they traded for, so I'm assuming he'll be taking the place of Alex Smith next year if Alex Smith ain't back, and they re-signed Adrian Peterson. I think that re-signing Adrian Peterson was a lot more huge than what people think, but my thoughts on free agency was a lot of fucking holy motherfucking shit happened and left me stunned. But at the end of the day, there was a lot of teams that hit the mark, and there were a lot of teams that didn't. And for me, I think that most of the West Coast teams pretty much hit the mark with what they needed and filling in gaps, including the 49ers and Raiders. We'll see where the teams go from here. But listen in tomorrow night as me and Cole will be back on with Raw Impact Unleashed to discuss the events of this week's Raw and SmackDown, and also to take a look at, I believe the Fastlane pay-per-view was this past Sunday. Yeah, it was. So we'll be talking about that. Other than that, tune in tomorrow night as well for K-Dub's Fifth Fear music class when I bring you Motown and doo-wop music from the 50s and 60s. So y'all can enjoy that. And then lastly, tune in to Marcus Donald and the Mr. Deacon Experience on Saturdays, and Brick and Now versus Then, and Lip Gloss and Mike's on Sunday. And then you got Dirty Talk 101 on Monday, Marvelous Live, I believe, on Tuesdays, along with Kings and Queens of Porn. And yeah, that's our full lineup. And then it's back to us on Fridays. So be sure to keep listening. Hope y'all enjoyed this special edition. I'll be back again in 2 weeks, or next Friday, where we'll talk a little spring training. We'll probably do Giants and A's. All right. So I hope y'all have a great day. Peace.